Welcome to your Extension Connection, land-grant universities in the city. I'm Dr. Julie Fox with The Ohio State University. With this brief video, you'll gain awareness of urban extension history, trends, and resources so that you feel connected. You'll gain knowledge of your role with university extension in your city so that you have a sense of belonging. And you'll gain the ability to contribute to extension impacts that are relevant locally, responsive statewide, and recognized nationally, so that you feel prepared to represent the university in your city. When it comes to university extension context, you see the three pillars here. Extension is part of the land-grant university community. It's part of a national and global extension community, and it's a member of your local higher education community. Extensions operates locally at the statewide level, nationally, and even globally. Worldwide extension organizations have been advancing technology transfer and human development in 115 countries for years. Here in the United States, extension organizations are part of that land-grant university system. Land grants began through two acts. First, the Morrill Act of 1862, which launched public institutions in each state. And then the Smith-Lever Act in 1914 is a collaboration between federal, state, and county government for land-grant universities to link what's happening at the university with what's happening in the community through cooperative extension systems. This is unique because you as an extension educator or professional are embedded as part of the community, really part of the community. You're not just coming in and out with projects, you're active in that community. The land-grant system expanded again in 1890 with the historically Black colleges and universities, and then the Native American colleges in 1994. If you'd like to know more about the land-grant tradition, there's about a 44-page report that was published in 2012. It'll give you a full, rich history if you'd like to know more about that base and the context of land-grant universities. When it comes to urban extension history, we've compiled a number of documents in an interactive timeline. You can go online and actually click through and see what's happened throughout the years, from the beginning of extension to some specific urban reports, conference proceedings, and a number of other documents that will help you better understand the story and history of urban extension. At the end of 2015, the National Urban Extension Leaders produced a national framework for urban extension. And the purpose of us coming together to have this document to communicate was so that we came together to advocate and advance the strategic importance and the long-term value of urban extension. For years, we kind of invested, and then we would not invest, and we would experiment with this and experiment with that. So this is really intended to take that strategic approach so that we can be relevant locally, understanding that from city to city, from state to state, from region to region, there might be a little bit different context, that we can work together in our states to be responsive to those key issues, that we can work together to be recognized nationally, not just within the land-grant university system, but with existing and new partners. Through the work of the National Urban Extension Leaders, the Extension Committee on Organization and Policy, our leadership group, has made urban extension a priority in 2016 and again in 2017, recognizing that working together, we can accomplish great things. The National Urban Extension Leaders also has some regional urban caucuses that are forming. Each one looks a little bit different, and they're just beginning. So you might see things like in the Southern region, an Urban Extension Conference. In the Western region, they have a Center for Metropolitan Extension and Research. In the Northeast region, they had a session on urban innovation where the states came together. So lots of good things unfolding. Connect with your regional caucus. We've taken an integrated approach to urban extension so that we can leverage the resources that we have available to us through that cooperative extension system and part of the Association of Public and Land-Grant Universities, or you might hear the acronym APLU. We're part of USDA's NIFA, National Institute of Food and Agriculture. So you see that network and can leverage those resources as well. Our professional associations are the Joint Council of Extension Professionals. You can join and become one of those and expand your network based on your area of specialization. There's an international association and also an online resource called eXtension, where you can connect with people and learn and really develop your own resource network based on this online resource called eXtension. They were great partners for us in some urban extension projects. If you look at the world of higher education, there's a coalition of urban serving universities, or USUs. There's also a coalition of urban and metropolitan universities. The difference between those two is one has a very distinct definition of the size of your institution and size of your geographic area that you serve, and the other one has a journal called Metropolitan Universities Journal. Speaking of journals, in Extension, there's a Journal of Extension, great resource that you can really dig into, not only to learn more about urban extension, but also about your area of expertise. And then the Journal of Human Sciences Extension published a themed issue on urban extension early in 2017. With urban extension, there are additional perspectives outside of the land-grant university. There were a couple of articles written about some movements that happened in the 70s called an Urban Extension Act. And this was intended to bring extension to urban serving universities that were not necessarily land-grant universities. And that was a concept, but never actually took root. And then there's a good article about urban extension in the decade ahead. And because of some of the things changing in our cities, how we need to respond differently. If you look at the broad context of our universities, and this is outside land-grant universities, but also in addition to land-grant universities, and let me explain. If you go to APLU, that Association of Public and Land-Grant University resource that we talked about a moment ago, and you go to the new engagement, you'll see this image here, and it talks about how extension fits with the triple mission of land-grant universities of research and discovery, of teaching and learning, and of extension, outreach, and public service. And so it gives you that context. So as you partner with people across your university, you can see, okay, from their perspective, that's the world that they operate in, and they might see that's how extension fits for them, regardless of it's a land-grant university like our own, or if it's another urban serving university that you might be partnering with as a minority serving university or regional campus, and again, that urban context that you see there. So extension is part of university engagement, and it's good for you to have that whole context. From state to state, extension's relationship with outreach and engagement is a little bit different, so become familiar with that relationship in your state. We can look further across the world. Recently, there was a campaign called Urban Thinkers Campus, and this is from the United Nations. There's a hashtag, the city we need. Check that out through your social media and look at where events might be hosted close to you. Online, there's a Campus Compact, again, connected to community engagement with universities. They have a podcast series and some other great resources, some small grant programs and some events. And then Ashako, the nonprofit world that we often link with, has a Changemaker campus. This broadens your perspective. So we've rooted with the land-grant university. We're part of that university system. We're part of higher education in our community. We're part of that local, state, and national and worldwide extension organization. After this video, there are some additional activities and resources so that you can expand your knowledge, so that you have that sense of belonging, you gain that ability to prepare yourself to represent university extension in your city. Again, I'm Dr. Julie Fox from Ohio State University. We look forward to continuing to learn together.